Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Client Spotlight series. Excuse me. I'm here with Eilish, and Eilish, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. Great to be here, Sam. I'm obviously Eilish. My name is Eilish Bouchier, and what I've done is I've worked with people for years in the area of business and branding. And about 20 years ago, I started on this metaphysical path in a completely serious way, and that's kind of taken over my life in so many ways. And it's brought me on this absolutely circuitous route from I practice and teach Kundalini yoga. I've had a jewelry business, which at the time I started, I would have thought that I would have produced really kind of Bauhaus classic design. And what it brought me into was this whole journey into the Tantra and with crystals. Nobody was more surprised than I, but obviously I needed to come back into my feminine. Um, and since then, what I've seen through this journey is that the most important thing for people is their integration, is to be able to hold that space for masculine and feminine. And that's essentially what I help clients do. And once you come into that space, anything is possible in your life.
So true. Oh my goodness. So I would love to give everyone a little bit of context. Can you place us where you were at when you originally joined the Alchemical Business Intensive? How'd you feel? What was hard? What was difficult? What was going on?
What is hard is always working with somebody who's a triple Virgo. um, I should go. Okay, so my ascendant is in Pisces, my sun is in Aries, and my moon is in Scorpio. So I like to dive super deep, and and I like to expand, and my work is always around really expanding people's visions. So, working in a space that, brings you back to structure and foundation is challenging for me. But I also know, and I work with clients in this way as well, is that, systems liberate and structures support. So, yes, it's challenging, but it's so necessary. And that was just a wonderful part of it. Where I started was, and I've been fighting this for a while, is that, because I come from such a strong branding background, wanting to work and do branding for people, but my belief is that branding has evolved so that it's no longer this cookie cutter, let's create a template and just continue. So I was fighting with myself in that way. And what I realized is that where my passion lies is it's in people's identity, because I see that's where people trap themselves. They trap themselves in, I'm a lawyer, or, I live in this certain suburb, or I'm married to this certain person, and this is what's expected of me. So most of my clients, I found that they're living somebody else's dream. And you get to a point where you kind of go like, fuck that for a game of soldiers, and so you decide that you want to become the creative director of your own life. But it's such a challenge to transition from the cages that you've built for yourself. And these can be cages within your own family, they can be cages within your own work, they can be even cages in how you dress, how you express yourself, all of those things. And so I've completely changed my business model. And I've completely changed my focus. What I'm interested in is people being able to lead the life that they love to live while they're contributing their unique gifts and skills to whatever area of their life they choose to, and to really give people the confidence that they can do that.
Yeah, and it was beautiful to witness you just through our time together, just really feeling zero motivation to work on this certain aspect of your business, and it was really pointing you to, it was the wrong offer. And it was like you were trying to fit yourself into a box of an old identity instead of actually birthing out something that the world really needs, and only you can do. So as soon as you were able to switch that out, there's been so much more inspiration and consistency within you.
Yes, I feel like I was flogging a dead horse. And it's interesting because you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, and it is that thing of within our own businesses. And this is, what my business is about, is that you've really got to lean into that passion. You've got to lean into that intuition, and you've got to cultivate a relationship with the unknown and allow yourself to birth without knowing what it is you will birth.
Yeah.
That's painful. Or
terrifying.
Yeah, but if we trust the universe, and if we and trust ourselves, I mean, and reality is we've made it this far. Why wouldn't you make it with absolute prosperity to the next place?
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I know that you agree that we're moving into a completely different reality on Earth and paradigm, or whatever you want to call it, where we all need to be playing a much bigger role and really need to be playing out what we're meant to be playing out. And by staying small and holding ourselves back because of fear, because of social programming, or whatever it is, it's a disservice to the evolution of our planet.
And it's also, we've come from the Piscean age and the industrial model, which was, conformity and fitting in a box, and there's the intergenerational, okay, well, there's progress, but it's still super contained, and it's conformity. I mean, that's what that model is about. And this new model is the era of the artists and the creatives and the people with the courage to experiment, and everything is an experiment, which doesn't always mean that it's easy. But that's why we have to build those skills and really expand the capacity of our nervous systems to be able to hold the tension, because that's kind of core to our success, essentially. Is that that electric magnetic field. And also, the stronger your nervous system, the more you can hold resources, the more you can hold your vision, and the more you can make progress towards it. And everybody's vision is going to be different.
Yeah.
And that's what's wonderful. That's what's wonderful about this age that we're moving into.
So within the Alchemical Business Intensive, what would you say the biggest shifts have been for you?
To trust the process, and to build the foundations so that your structures are in place, so you can take off when the energy builds, and and to keep those systems moving, so the systems are supporting you. So it's that's and marketing is something that I've always found super challenging. And it's again that the acceptance of keep on message, keep on telling the story, that you feel that you're getting bored with it, but the reality of it is that your clients need to hear it again and again, because that again comes back to your brand, comes back to your identity. So what identity are you invested in for your future? That's because a vision is not a place to be right now, it's what you imagine you can possibly be.
Well, it's like, I mean, what an argument for systems, because like you as the visionary, of course you're ready to move on, you're ready to like on to the next thing, but it is important for the person to have the breakthrough, even if the breakthrough is level 1 and you're at level 100, and you're like, you want to share the breakthroughs of level 100, but the person needs first the breakthrough from level 1. Like, that's the power of systems. And that, okay, how do we automate this? How do we have other people writing about this level 1 shit so that I can be over here with my level 100 stuff?
Yes, yeah, that is the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also realizing, like for me, one of the big things that's come out of the alchemical intensive is realizing what I need to put in place to support people so they can do that on their own.
Yeah.
And then that, they know that they're building, a toolbox that will serve them, because progress isn't linear.
Yeah.
I've redrawn Maslow's hierarchy of human needs to be a spiral, so the reality of it is that you're, each time you go around the spiral, you're expanding a little more into it, but it doesn't mean that, oh, okay, I've got my resources, great. It doesn't mean that, oh, wow, I'm super confident. You're constantly building on that. The most important thing is compounding.
Yeah.
That, and our lives are the compound interest of what we do every day. But more important than what we do, it's like who we're being as we're doing those, because that's who you become. And and what we do keeps on changing.
Yeah.
And that is definitely the society we're moving into. But who you're being, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be known as? I went to Jaipur Literary Festival a number of years ago, and I saw Hanif Qureshi and Roddy Doyle and Stephen Frears. And, Hanif Qureshi was, like well into his 60s, and I thought, oh my God, I could so do you, you're just so attractive. But he was a cranky old man. And there's, Roddy Doyle, who nobody, as they say, only a mother could love him, but, no, not an attractive man, but so gracious, so humble, and so beautiful. And Stephen Frears was this jocular guy. And I just thought, wow, if you practice being grumpy, you'll become a grumpy old man. Whereas if you practice being gracious, that's who you become as well. It was so interesting.
Yes. Oh my gosh, what a good story. Which one did you sleep with? No, don't tell me. So within the program, how did you find the group calls and just overall vibe?
Gorgeous. Beautiful people, like really open and listening and wanting to learn from each other and also support each other. Yeah, like, I mean, it's such a generosity. It was, and you have a great ability to cut through. As I said, I think at the beginning of the program, the reason I chose to work with you is because you go like, no, I can see what's happening here, and you just cut through, which is exactly what you need in a coach. And so, and of course, within the group energy, you're learning from everybody's experience, and particularly when it's such a generous group. Yeah, it was quite wonderful. Very valuable.
Good. Yeah, no, I love the beautiful community that you all created. It was just so sweet to watch, honestly, and I'm sorry.
And so and beautiful individuals, and also, yeah, really wanting everybody to succeed, which is, a wonderful space to hold, and that is, yeah, that's the space you created.
Thank you. So one of the threads throughout the program was elevating into the visionary CEO, or acting as the visionary CEO. Can you tell us how would you define the visionary CEO for yourself, and what that transformation has looked like for you in the last few months?
Okay, so the challenge for me, and I find this in my own work as well, the challenge is separating yourself, particularly if your business is named as yourself, from the actual work. And so the change for me has been completely and absolutely creating this container that is the business and asking the business what it needs, and so it's like this. So it's maintaining that 10,000 feet of view all the time, so rather than taking it personally. And a challenge for me also has been, which you always come up against your own personal blocks, is, oh, what will they think if I say that? What will and I think that's one of the ways that we super limit ourselves in our businesses, because it's nothing to do with us. It's nothing to do. Yes, of course, you reference your personal journey because that's where your greatest value is going to be. It's like, as I say, learn from my mistakes. I've made plenty. But it's also distancing yourself from that. That's everything is an experience. And, so how do you use that experience in service of, and when you're telling stories for your business, it's around, again, the container. Is this in service of my client? So many people tell stories that are, them downloading, and you kind of go like, yeah, right, great, nice story, but
no, and I love that you brought that up, especially because people's businesses can grow a lot bigger if they actually separate themselves from it. Because I mean, the entire work of this is making it so it's this separate entity that has its own power. And a part of that is, like, sometimes it has a bigger vision than you even have. It has a bigger idea of what it's going to turn into than you even have. And especially for people who haven't done, like, removing limiting beliefs and blocks and the shadow work and stuff, where, like, stuff like who am I comes up, or this or I don't want to be seen, or all of these other things that are so attached to us as a human with mortality and all of that stuff. It doesn't apply to a business.
And it's also, and a great example of this is when I had a design agency, a comms agency, in my 30s and 40s, and the agency really wanted to grow. I was working for people like Apple and Vodafone and government agencies, big clients, and I wanted to move, and I was in Australia, and I wanted to move to Europe, and I thought, if I grow this business, I'm going to get stuck in Australia. I'm going to be trapped here. And so I kept the business. I really stopped it growing. And what I realized, of course, as I say, learn from my mistakes, I've made plenty, is that if I had served the business and served what the business wanted to become, well, then, I would now be, sipping, pina coladas by the pool in, Europe, no problem. And so it's really so that's such an important distinction that you've made, is around, okay, well, your business has its own vision, it has its own trajectory, and you're in service of the business is in service of the clients, and if you serve the business will serve you.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Eilish. Do you have any final words of wisdom or messages or things that you'd like to share with people who are thinking about joining the next round of the Alchemical Business Intensive?
The thing that comes to mind is that when you're a creator and when you're a practitioner, or you're a business owner and you're super invested in your business, you want to just keep on creating. You just want to keep on making and doing. And the reality of it is that you can't sell a secret. And, you know, marketing is so, so important. And I'm still learning this, as Sam knows. But it is so much around the focus. And this is what I'm doing with the new business model is that, you know, build the business model and build the structure, then allow yourself the time for it to tell that story, you know, and the story will keep on expanding. But it's around, most of your energy, really, probably about 60% of it should be in the marketing space, not in the creation space. And that's certainly a big mistake that I've made.
Mhm.
And so from that point of view, you're in great hands with Sam.
Thank you, Eilish. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.